So we are going to visualize the area of circle. The circle we already know. If you take the radius of circle as r, then the length of this entire circumference will be 2 pi r. And we also know that the area of circle is pi r square. But how? How can you visualize it? So what do you do? Take a knife or something which you use for cutting things and start cutting the circle like this. Like start making rings out of it, which you mathematically call concentric circles. Like I have made it into like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have total 8 rings out of it. So what do we have got? We have got rings right now, like coiled up rings. Right now, they all are round. At this moment, they all are round. So now we will make the final cut in different style. Now we will cut them like that. Like take a scissor or something and cut them like that. Like sort of cross section cut. So what will happen after this cut? Before this cut, they all rings were round. After this cut, you can unfurl them all, straighten them up, and make them into straight wires. Like all can be converted into straight wires now. So there were 8 rings, now they can be converted into 8 straight wires. What will we do? We will take all the straight wires and place them on a plane surface, like on a table. Okay, so we will start from the smallest wire. So the smallest ring will now they are converted into straight wires. So I will place the smallest ring, which is a wire. Now it will look something like that. Okay, now the next ring. Now I will place the next wire just next to this one, the previous one. So that will look something like that. Now the next one, then we keep going like that. Like this won't be that much thick, but you got the idea. Like that, like that, something like that. Okay, if I ask you, like the longest wire is this. If I ask you what will be the length of longest wire, like where has it come from? Like this wire. So I think it's not very tough to think that longest wire is nothing but this ring, and the length of this ring was 2 pi r. So the length of the longest wire will be 2 pi r. So if I join them, it will become something like this. And there are gaps over here, these gaps. Suppose suppose you cut them into, like you have cut into 8 rings. Now suppose you have cut it into 1000 rings, like 10,000 rings. What will happen? The thickness of each ring will decrease, because there were 8 rings. Now you have cut into 1000 rings. Suppose you have cut it into 1 lakh rings, that each ring's thickness will decrease. And if you place them like that, it will look like something like that. Like those gaps will keep getting filled now. Like I cannot draw 1000 rings, but you got the idea. Now imagine the final thing. Cut this circle into infinite rings. Infinite rings. What will happen? Like each ring will be infinitely skinny. They will be so thin that the closeness of it won't be observed by bare eyes. Like they will be so close to each other. And if there will be infinite rings, the length of the next ring will not be like very big. The difference of length between two consecutive rings won't be much, like very, like there are infinite rings, and each next wire will be the longer than the previous wire, but not by much. Like you got, like I hope you understood what I'm trying to do. Okay, so there were infinite rings. Now there are infinite straight wires, and obviously If you place infinite wires like that on a table, then it will look like this. So eventually they will form a right angle triangle. The length of this height is 2 pi r. If I ask you what will be the length of this thing, where has it come from? Like you have cut them into infinite wires and placed them on a table, and if I ask you what will be the length of this thing, where has it come from, then it's not very tough to guess. It has come from here. Like there were these many rings, they are unfurled, they are now a straight wire, and you have placed them from here to here. So this length will be nothing but r. Now all the rings are here, the area will be same. If I calculate this area, that will exactly be same of this area. So it does not matter what are you doing right now, where are you, where do you live. If you have passed a standard 10th in very legal way, like proper way, then you must know, like nobody can forget this formula, that area of triangle is half into base into height. I am going to apply over here, half into base into height. Base is r, height is 2 pi r. So what will happen, 2 will get cancelled out and we will get pi r square. Okay, so by this process we can visualize the area of circle is pi r square. But if you will think deeply, then this process is very nice way to realize that. But that is not the best part of this process. The most amazing part of this process is that you just saw the fundamental of integration. Because if you look closely, then you will find the circumference of circle is nothing but derivative of the area of the circle, its area. If you differentiate this, you will get circumference. If you integrate this, you will get here.